Chats with Chantla. Welcome to another episode of Chats with Chantla. I'm Chantla Israel, and I have an amazing entrepreneur that we are going to be so inspired. Some of y'all may be jumping out of your seats by the time he's done sharing his story. So welcome to the platform, Jeff. How are you doing this evening?
I am doing amazing. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I am so excited for this conversation. Jeff and I go way back. It's been a minute. You know, we both relocated, left the area that we connected from. Sorry, I'm up here adjusting my shirt. But I cannot wait to share this platform with you and just so people get to know more about you, because I know a lot of people from Southwest PA who are watching know a little bit about you. Some are new and may not. So this is why we have this platform, to make sure that people can connect and learn more about you. But Jeff, like, where are you at now? Like, I know you left Southwest PA. So where are you located at this moment?
So I'm in the DMV area. Hey, first off, I want to say, man, it has been a long time. It's been long. We've been on this journey for quite some time now, and I'm happy. We're gonna get to all of that stuff a little later.
Absolutely.
Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it. I'm so happy. I'm in the DMV right now, in the DC area. Loving it. Enjoying myself. Enjoying. Funny, everything that I said I was going to do when I got here, I've done it. Right. And I've done it tenfold. I've done it over and over again. Coronavirus put a little halt to some things. And we'll talk a little bit about that later. But I'm in the DMV area right now. I'm loving it. I'm enjoying it, man. I am, having a good time, enjoying life right now.
Wonderful. So we have some people already tuning in. They're watching, they're shouting you out. Hi, Rashaun, thank you so much for watching. So a lot of you guys know Jeff. If you don't, you're going to feel like you know him after this conversation. If you have some comments that you want to ask Jeff, make sure you put it in the comment section, and then we'll be able to get that to you. But we're going to jump right into this conversation. But Jeff is not your average entrepreneur. So before I even get into this conversation, he is an omni entrepreneur. So he does so much. So this conversation is just not going to be one-sided on one thing that he touches. It's going to be a lot, and you're going to get to hear it. Before we even get started, I know y'all noticed that he has a backpack on. And the reason for it, we all know him as Jeff Young, but he's also known as Backpack Jeff. And before I even go any further, Jeff, because I don't want people to be real like, okay, and tuning in, like, what is that? What's that mean? Give us a little breakdown about Backpack Jeff. Like, what part of your entrepreneurship does this come into?
So really, it comes into this part first and foremost. A lot of when I go and I perform and I do the things that I do, women always ask me, "Oh, what's in your backpack? What's in your backpack?" And I say, "Have you ever seen Dora the Explorer?" Right? And what does Dora carry in her backpack? I'm asking you. What does she need? One thing that she always carries in her backpack, though.
I can't remember. My kids are 20-something.
It's a map. She carries a map.
Yes, the map. I was trying to get the map. Yes, the map.
It's a map to your heart in my backpack.
Okay, now. Look at Don. Now, we got that relationship. I'm going to call him out. He did not.
Look, that's a part of what I do, though. That's a part of what I do. So
absolutely.
I'm a host. So there's some comedy that I have to put in there. I'm also a motivational speaker, entrepreneur. So I do a multitude of things. But the reason the backpack kind of came into play was because, number one, I was sick of carrying all of the things that I always had with me all the time, like my cameras, video. Like, so I'm always camera ready. So you guys can tell that the things that I post. So like, I'm always taking pictures and stuff like that. And I just got tired of carrying it with me. And so I just grabbed the backpack and I said, you know what, I'm going to call myself Backpack Jeff. You know, why not? It's got a ring to it. And then so it just kind of carried on and got a life of its own. And so I started to say to myself, okay, what is a way that I can make this meaningful to who I am and to what it is that I do? And so I said to myself, okay, every time there's something that I want to accomplish, I'm going to put something in my backpack. And every time I accomplish something, I'm going to take something out of my backpack. So I was accomplished. I was had a lot of different ideas about what it is that I wanted to do, and my backpack was getting heavy. And so I'm like, okay, I got to start accomplishing these goals. And so as I accomplished them, I started taking things out of the backpack, and it really symbolizes who I am. When I'm on stage, when I'm performing, when I'm speaking, I also have things that are near and dear to my heart in my backpack. So like pictures of my family, articles, artifacts, and stuff like that mean something to me. I keep them with me. Poets that I've spoke to, I have their books in my backpack. Other artists that I'm very inspired by, things that they wrote, things that they said, I put them in my backpack. And so when I'm on stage, it's not just me that's on stage, it's me and everyone who's in my backpack on stage with me.
I love that. So Jeff, I just want you to know there are so many people watching. There's Rashaun, Miss Carol, thank you for watching. Lisa, Roxanne, Tiara, Doug Wright, my mom, everybody, so many people are watching, and they're really just so appreciative of you. And I love how you were speaking about the significance and the impact of the backpack. And a lot of people do know you as an entrepreneur. They know you as a motivational speaker. And some people are just learning a lot about you as a spoken word artist. And I know that backpack comes into play a lot of times on your stage presence. And I absolutely love the significance of why you carry the backpack. But before we even get into that journey, just tell me why you became an entrepreneur. Like, what was it that motivated you to step into that realm?
Yeah, so it was June 4th, 2014. Was the day that changed my life. It was a day that I'll never forget. Hollywood could not have written a better script on how I would lose my house and my job the same exact day. I was at my job. I was losing my job. My landlord sent me a text and she said, "Hey, I need to talk to you." And I was like, okay, if it's something serious, I can call you right now. What's going on? She said, "No, it's okay. I'll call you when I get home. Call me whenever you get home. I'll come by and see you." And I was like, oh, okay. And I'm thinking to myself, wait, it's the 4th. I just paid the rent on the 1st. So like, what could be going on? And so she came home and she told me, well, I sold the house and you got 30 days to get out. And I was like, what? Yeah, she sold the house while I was in it. She told me I had 30 days to get out. And I ended up getting into the insurance business. And from there, I never looked back. I've been a 1099 employee ever since June 4th, 2014. And I got into entrepreneurship in that way because once I started selling insurance, in that business, you work on flat commission. So whatever you sell is whatever you bring home. And I started doing, I think I was like 25 at the time. I was living in Uniontown. So it isn't too expensive to live in Uniontown. And I think I think my first year, I made like $55,000 my first year selling insurance. I was just like, oh my goodness, like this is possible. I didn't even notice. And then like my second year, I made like 61. And then like my third year, I made almost like 75,000 in my third year selling insurance. And after that, I never looked back. I got into motivational speaking by, just listening to other motivational speakers say things that inspired me. Because as I was in the insurance business, one thing that I had to make sure that I did was that I stayed influenced and I stayed motivated, because we get the word no so many times, like no, right. no. You know what I mean? Can you take 80 no's before you get your 20 yeses in the insurance? That's what we always said. And so I took those no's, but I had to take them in a way that, kept inspiring me to go back to that person. A no doesn't always mean a no in sales. A no just means not yet, or you haven't convinced me that I need this yet. And so, I did what I had to convince them that, hey, you need me on your team. and you need me to work with your people. And so that's how I got into entrepreneurship, was that I was forced into it that day, June 4th, 2014. I'll never forget that day.
I love that story. And the reason why I love it is because I remember the first time we had that conversation and how you were expressing to me what you just said. No doesn't mean no. It just means not yet. And so many people take the no and completely, stop, quit, don't move forward, don't do anything else about it. And I love how a no doesn't mean no, it means not yet. And I remember how you used to speak about all the motivational speakers that you used to follow on YouTube, or the books that you had. You're an avid reader, you apply what you read immediately. So, but the things about it is, I remember you saying with confidence and not arrogance that I'm watching these people and I know I have the same thing and can do the same things, that it triggered you to ignite this internal thing that you felt about yourself so you could actually live it out. Tell me a little bit more about that path.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, so Eric Thomas has this one speech that he does, and he says, he was like, why? He's like, why are they making $5,000 on a speech and I'm not? Why are they doing this and I'm not? Why am I losing? He said, Eric Thomas said, I got tired of losing, and I would never forget that speech. It made me get tired of losing. Like, I started asking the question, like, hold on, I got a good story. I worked 3 jobs. Right. Put myself through school. I was a 2-sport athlete, worked 3 jobs, was a full-time father at 21 years old, and I was able to carry myself into a place of success, and I was able to do all of these things. Why can't I have the same things that they have? And so I said to myself, there's nothing that is stopping me from having the same things that they have, other than the fact that they're doing what I say that I want to do. So I said to myself, okay, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to invest, and I'm going to start writing a speech. I'm going to start writing my life story. I'm going to start studying speakers. I'm going to start studying, all of these different ways that I can tell my story to people and hope that I can grab an audience. And so I did that. I created a speech. I wrote down the things that I would like to say during my speech, and I went hard. And that was one of the things that I knew I had to do at this was if I was going to do it, I was going to go hard at it, and I couldn't look back. And what I learned, during this journey was you got to go hard or go home. The risk takers are the ones that win in this world, and you have to risk it all in order to. You have to risk it or bet big to win big, essentially.
Right.
So that's what I did. I rented out the State Theater, which was $800. There was no way that I thought that I was going to make $800 back off of my first speech. I went to Mount Olivet Baptist Church. Shout out to Mount Olivet. They supported me like crazy during this time. And I asked them, I was like, hey, look, can y'all come and, sing a little bit for me and stuff like that? And then then I'm going to come up and speak. And they was like, okay, yes, we'll do it. And they came and they sang. And I mean, there was probably maybe 40 people there. I didn't sell much tickets. I definitely lost probably like $600 to $700 off of this event. But I felt so good and so invigorated after that speech that it put something in me that made me say, you know what, I can't stop doing this. I can't stop doing this. And as I looked, I kept getting better. And then one thing led to another. And that's how I got into the GED program, where you and I eventually met, from someone who was attending the GED program who referred me to you. I just started getting connected with so many other people. And I was just like, okay, who is it that I need to talk to? And I started talking to some amazing people. And then they helped me, formulate my speeches and stuff like that and get myself together. And listening to these other speakers, it empowered me, inspired me, and motivated me. I literally listened to speakers more than I listened to music. And now if I go back and listen to those motivational speeches, I can quote those motivational speeches the same way that I can quote rap songs.
I know. I've seen it. I've witnessed it right on the spot. I mean, anybody who knows you and anybody who has had the opportunity to be around you, you're so charismatic, but you're also just like so inspiring, because not only are you sharing your story, but you're also uplifting other people at the same time. So I think like that you being a spoken word artist and a motivational speaker was just a natural path for you to take.
Yeah.
And I really like just appreciate that. And when you're talking about how much time you take in, researching and listening to other speakers, I want to ask you the question, like, how many hours a day do you work on an average as an entrepreneur, as a motivational speaker and spoken word artist?
Okay, so right now, how many hours a day? So right now, I'm up pretty much every morning at 4:30 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
4:30 a.m. is the wake up. I'm usually at the gym by 5. From 5 to 6, I'm at the gym and I'm working out. I'm back home, and then from about 6 until about 8:30, when I have to log on to work, that's time for me to be creative. That's time for me to read.
Right.
I'm an avid reader. I love reading. I used to hate reading when I was in high school, but I learned the importance of reading. I think the very first book that I started reading when I got into it was called The 10X Rule. And in that book, he said the most successful people in this world read at least 30 to 40 books every single year. And so from there, I said to myself, okay, I need to learn to read more. And I learned that it wasn't that I hated reading, just interested in the things that I was reading about in school. And so now that I'm older, I get to read the things that I care about. So I spend my mornings reading, and then I spend my mornings writing. And then after that, so right now I'm working both my jobs full time. But again, it's all contract work. I don't do anything where I have to go into a place and be stationary. It's all contract work. Everything is 1099. So all of the money that I earn, I touch all of my money, but I have to pay my taxes. And I learned that from the insurance business. They say when I first got in the insurance business, they say there's 3 things you don't want to play with: the I, the R, and the S.
Right, absolutely. I mean, nobody wants that.
To play with. But so from 8:30 until about 4:30, I'm logged on. But if you do what I do, you don't have to work from 8:30 until 4:30, because all you have to do is meet your numbers. All you have to do is meet your quotas. So if you meet your quota, then you can be done at 1:30.
Right.
You can be from 8:30 to 1:30, I'm working, but I'm getting an 8-hour day from both jobs. So I'm done around 1:30. And then now, so I have my podcast that's going to be starting up here pretty soon. I have weekly videos. I have a videographer now. Him and I are going to be working together to create video content and stuff like that. We're doing that weekly. So how many hours a day? I mean, I sleep 6 hours a day. So I'm going to say about 18 hours a day is really spent doing entrepreneurship type work. Some of that 18 hours is spent being a father as well. I have to cook, I have to clean, I have to make sure that, I'm giving her time. That's one of the things that I made sure that I did with my daughter was I actually made sure that I scheduled time to spend with her strictly and not focus on anything entertainment. And a lot of people thought that was a bad idea when I told them, like, hey, you need to map out time to spend with your child. And they're like, wait, map out time? And I'm like, yes, because you want to make sure that you're giving them the undivided attention that they deserve. And you're not on your phone or thinking about, what you have to do next. No, This is strictly your time right here. And so I made sure that I made that time for my daughter, to make sure that I am spending this time with her. But other than that, it's one thing after another. Like right now, is the best time to do anything.
Yeah.
Now is the best time to do anything. So I spend about 18 hours doing the things that I need to do or doing the things that I love,
Right. And, it makes me think about all that you do and how you do it. But you're pouring so much into, making money to be an entrepreneur. How has becoming an entrepreneur affected your relationships with family and friends?
Yeah. So you know what? So I just got this DM the other day asking me the same exact question. How do I learn how to balance? And I learned how to balance from reading TD Jakes' book Instinct, and talked about being a juggler. And he said, what does a juggler do? He said, a juggler throws multiple items up simultaneously, never letting any one thing hit the ground. But sometimes you throw one thing up a lot higher than you throw another, or you touch some things a lot more frequently than you touch another thing. And that's the same way with life. I make sure that I spend a lot of time with my brothers. I spend a lot of time with my friends, with my family. I spend a lot of time talking to my mom on the phone. I spend a lot of time with my daughter. How do I do it? I map out a time like, Sanaya, this is your time right now. This is Saturday morning is your day. Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening, Sunday night, this is where we play family games. We play Uno. Loves playing Uno. We played Connect Four yesterday. We played Jenga yesterday. We played Uno Flip. We play those kind of games. So I map out, like, I have to be present during this time. And that's how you make time for what's important. You actually make the schedule and say to yourself, okay, this is what I'm going to dedicate my time to. So that's how I do it. I don't feel bad for doing it. I'm happy that I'm able to do it. And I know that because of it, my daughter and I are growing a healthy, strong relationship. But then she also knows that, hey, when dad's in the zone, when you see Nico come over and we got the camera and the studio lights and stuff like that, this is not your time. This is not daddy time. This is daddy's time to do work and do what he needs to do so that, he can make money and, build a better life for us.
Absolutely. I just want to shout out some of the people that are here supporting Chats with Chantla. We have Courtney Jacobs. We have, a lot of people that are sitting here just giving a lot of shout outs to you. Again, we spoke a lot, and Dana said hi. Dana Graham, she's shouting you out and supporting you.
My lady.
Absolutely. And, I love how you were talking about, even Courtney said in the comments, a great analogy about juggling life. And the thing that I enjoyed about it is how you said you have to throw one up a little bit higher or hold another one a little bit longer. And I love that. And you keep going back to the analogy. If you missed Jeff's analogy at the beginning, he talked about the backpack that he has on. He is a spoken word artist, and he's known as, his stage name is Backpack Jeff. So he has the backpack on. He has a fly backpack on tonight. He has an Armani Exchange backpack on, but he keeps a lot of things in there. And one of the things he spoke about was a map. And he keeps a map in there. And the reason why he's talking about a lot of times about mapping things out is he stays true to what he says he does. And he's mapping out time for his family, friends, and his success. Like, time management is such a huge key point and component in success of being an entrepreneur. Because if you don't, time can get away from you. You can spend too much time on one thing that's not going to generate anything for you or benefit you, and then not enough on the things that are necessary. So when you're speaking about mapping out things, I'm feeling that's resonating with me. And you have a lot of factors that are really helping you move forward. Like, you have your daughter. You spoke about how you have the family time with her, and and she knows the difference when it's daddy and daughter time and when it's daddy working. And I love that. But I also want to know, because I know personally that she's one of the things that motivates you. But what are some other things, Jeff, that motivates you to keep going?
My grandmother not seeing me reach the level of success that I would like to see her see me on. That's one of the things that motivates me the most. Getting up every single day and saying to myself, I want my grandmother to come to my house, like not my apartment. I want my grandmother to come to my house and stay with me for a month over the summer, like she does with my aunt, my other cousins, my other uncles. That's what motivates me. Knowing that my dad doesn't have a retirement plan is what motivates me. I'm his retirement plan. Getting these rental properties is his retirement plan. My mom, she wanted to move to Florida. I told her this is a horrible idea, but I said, if you want a house in Florida, let's buy a vacation house in Florida. So now there's new motivation to buy her this house in Florida. And then the ultimate motivation, like you were saying, was my child, is I don't want her to start in the basement like I had to start. I want her to start at the penthouse, looking out at the empire that I built for our family, and say, you know what, I'm going to build my own empire right next to my dad's. That's what motivation. That's the reason to get up every single morning at 4:30 in the morning. That's the reason to stay up late at night. That's the reason why I'm working 40 hours, both jobs, 5 days a week, and still on Saturday and Sunday, or even still on regular nights where I have to go out and shake hands and kiss babies and smile. You know, before this pandemic thing, I was out 5 nights a week. Not because I wanted to be out, but out because I needed to build relationships, because I needed to know people. I needed to know who the DJs were. I needed to know who the bouncers were. I needed to know all of these people so that when I go into a place and I say, hey, I want to do a show here, they say, oh yeah, that's Backpack. Yeah, come on. Like, right. I have a friend now who, when we go out, I'm telling you, he's the unofficial mayor in DC. And I see the work that he's put in. When we go out, he knows every bouncer to every club that we go into, and he knows every DJ. They want to take a picture with him every time we walk in. And I said to myself, I need to have that same type of relationship in downtown Silver Spring that he has in DC, that when I walk into a place, oh yeah, that's Backpack. Oh yeah, that's Backpack. Right. So when I want to do a show here, there's no decisions or there's no second thoughts about me doing a show here, because you know the numbers that I'm going to pull here. I had an event space that I was doing a show in. I did my first 2 shows there. He didn't believe in it. He was like, oh yeah, okay, yeah. You know, you had people come, they didn't buy drinks and blah, 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 and they didn't make any money. Okay, cool. We moved it to another location. About 2 months, 3 months later, he got wind of how it was doing. I mean, we packed this place completely out. It was so packed that we had to start taking chairs off of the roof and bringing it the stairs. He had one of his people come from down the street and come and check out the event and was in there looking at our event. Then start sending me text messages, hey man, just wanted to know if y'all wanted to come back. And I'm like, oh, time out. You didn't believe. You didn't believe. I told you. You told me that you had people try to do this before. I said, ain't none of them was Backpack. I said, you never had me walk in there and try to and do this open mic event. Right. Me. And you didn't believe me. And I'm telling you, right before this COVID thing happened, we were sold out. And this was in the winter time. We were packing out the place. Imagine what would have happened in the spring, summertime, fall, when people are going out regularly. These are people coming out off of the strength of me and who I am as a person, who I am as an individual. Imagine if it was, oh my goodness, it would have been crazy.
Yeah. Jeff, I just love how motivated and your energy. So if you're just now joining in, this is Chats with Chantla. I have the amazing entrepreneur, Jeff Young. He is a spoken word artist and motivational speaker and so much more. He just does so much. And anyone who has had the opportunity to meet him, they know his energy, they know his positive mindset. His vibe is always about us and not just I. So he's sharing his journey into entrepreneurship on so many different levels. And he was just speaking about the confidence that he had in himself when people didn't believe, and how he packed spaces when people didn't believe in him, and then had to come back and do that ask. So that no that he got, like, oh, it's not working for me right now, actually was, he spoke earlier, no doesn't mean no, it means not yet. And for that business owner, it was kind of like, oh, I'll see you on the flip side. You're not really doing what I feel like you should be doing. And he went somewhere else, packed it where they had to get chairs from the roof so people could get seats. That other business owner heard about what he was able to do and brought that back. So what I'm saying is, Jeff has the confidence that every entrepreneur should have, and that is self-confidence. First and foremost, when no one else believes in you, you have to believe in yourself. And what he just spoke about in his example is exactly that. He did not let the words of that business owner stop him from going to the next venue. It did not stop him from packing that venue, and it did not decrease his confidence in himself and his skills. And that's what we have to have in times where people are not just really thinking in the same capacity. And the thing about it, not everybody understands your vision, but it is definitely a vision, or you would have never received it. And I'm so glad, Jeff, that you actually did not get discouraged. You didn't fall short of thinking about who you are and the greatness that you bring to the places, the stages, and the atmospheres that you are placed in. And the thing about it, I've had some conversations with you that other people may be like, oh my gosh, she's just thinking so high and so like that's not tangible. And when I think, every time I see a Maserati, I think of you. There's no way that I cannot think of you. I see so many white Maseratis and I'm like, my boy is going to be riding in one. Then tomorrow he'll be riding in the truck. Like, the thing about it, I believed in everything that you spoke of. And the reason for it is because we connected, the belief in self and then what we brought to this world. You have purpose, and that purpose is you doing so many things. But I just thank you so much for sharing some of the things about how you made it through some adversity and doubt of people not believing in you, and you kept going even during the pandemic.
You know what? I can't believe that you remember that white Maserati story. That white
Absolutely.
Maserati story.
Absolutely.
Interesting thing about that, real quick entrepreneur side hustle, right? So I listened to David Shan's his podcast, Social Proof. And are you familiar with the app called Turo?
No, tell me about it.
It's a car rental app, and so you can put your car on Turo, and people can rent out your car.
Yes, I have. I've seen it. It's popped up before. Okay, yes, absolutely, absolutely.
Oh, yep. There's an entrepreneur in Atlanta who got really good at this, and he has a fleet of high-end cars, Maseratis, the Lamborghinis, and stuff like that at the Atlanta airport. So what he started out with was a Tesla, a Model 3. He started out with a Model 3 Tesla. He put it on Turo, and he was making like $2,500 to $3,000 a month off of putting his Model 3 Tesla on the Turo app. And I think he put it out for like $218 a day. So instead of getting the Maserati as a car for me, I'm gonna get a Tesla Model 3, and I'm gonna put it on Turo, and I'm gonna rent it out and see how it does. That's gonna be my side hustle. So a little nugget: go to Social Proof. Definitely do your research on it first. You got to hear his story before you jump into doing something like this, because there's a lot of security and stuff like that you have to go that you're gonna want to go through before you put a car on Turo. But definitely, it's definitely something that's worth checking out. If you're an entrepreneur, if you're not scared to risk it, it's something that could be lucrative.
Yeah, and I always think about entrepreneurs. We always have to think about ways to make money when we're sleeping and not so much when we're awake, and to have multiple streams of income. If you read any books about successful entrepreneurs who have reached the level of number of money, it's because they have at least 7 streams of constant income coming in. So what Jeff is talking about is another way as an entrepreneur to gain money, to be able to support his true passion. And his true passion, in my experience with you, is impacting lives, especially the lives of young people, and making sure that you're interrupting maybe them going down a path that they don't need to or shouldn't be going down. Because a lot of us lack that support and that encouragement as young people and even as adults. And it makes me think about you as a motivational speaker in Young Lungs, where you spoke a lot about breathing life into the young people and to the youth. And I will never forget that. Like, that resonates so deeply with me as well.
That's what changed me, actually. When I got into that's why I quit the insurance business, actually, was because I was losing sight of who I was. I sold myself to the highest bidder, and the highest bidder at that time was insurance. And I had gotten so caught up in the love of the money that I lost the purpose of why I was doing it in the first place, which was to open up 3 facilities working with underprivileged kids or at-risk youth, so that I can help them in any way, shape, or form. And I said to myself, okay, I want to get more into this speaking, because that's where I can have the biggest impact, was actually speaking to the kids and showing them that, hey, there is another option. There is another way that you can get out of doing the things that you were doing. And you don't have to be an athlete, actor, or rapper, or whatever it might be. You can actually be a person of influence, of valor, and actually make a significant make a significant change in someone's life. And you can be a person of value without being in entertainment. And that's what I did. And so with speaking, it was something that I knew I wanted to do. But when I was in Uniontown, I said to myself, okay, I became a big fish in a small pond. How do I get into a bigger pond and become a big fish in a bigger pond, because
Mm-hmm.
when I came back to the DMV area, I didn't know anybody here. I didn't know what I was going to do. I was like, okay, how can I get into these schools? Because here, the population is so astronomical. I'm like, okay, how will I get schools to let me into the schools? And so, business minded, Jeff, right? I'm going to offer 2 scholarships to one to a male, one to a female, $1,000 scholarship out of my own money. I'm not going to ask for donations. Wow. I'm not going to do any fundraising. I'm going to offer 2 scholarships, one $1,000 for a male, $1,000 for a female. And the only way that a student can be eligible for this is if I come to their school and speak to their student. Now, I'm not going to charge you anything to come to your school and speak. I just want to come and talk to your students. I just need to get in front of some students. Principal, this is what I'm saying to the principal, right? Yeah. I just need to get in front of your students. That's it. I'm not going to charge you anything. And one of your kids could, or both 2 of your students could potentially win $1,000 scholarship. And so they would let me into the schools based off of that merit, and they would let me speak to their students. And I gave away 2 scholarships, $1,000. I planned on doing the same thing this year, but it was going to be $400 or $500 scholarships. But obviously things were a little bit different this year because of the whole coronavirus. But just being an entrepreneur, just being able to think outside of the box, and being a hustler is really what it is. I was able to get into these schools and speak to these students that way.
I love that, because my next question, and you, without knowing, you segued right into it. And my next question was, how do you generate new ideas? I mean, you talked about giving away $1,000 to 2 students in one school. That is huge. That's huge to any student of any level. But to think about, you were willing to come. If I was the principal, like, I'll give money to your students. Just let me speak. I think that's amazing. So, Jeff, how do you generate new ideas?
Conversations. It's one of those things where I'm always listening. I'm always ear hustling. So I'm always listening to what someone else is saying and asking myself, okay, how can I put a twist on it? How can I take that? Because the thing is, a lot of people try to reinvent the wheel. They try to, redo what's already been done. You don't have to try to redo what's already been done. It's already been done for a reason. And they have blueprints, and they've given you blueprints, and they've put it in these books, and they've put it in these classes. Just do what I'm telling you to do, and you'll be successful at it. And that's exactly what I did. So I come up with new ideas from reading, from listening to stories like Warren Buffett and Eric Thomas were having a conversation, and Eric Thomas asked Warren Buffett, he said, "What are you reading?" And Warren Buffett said, "I'll be honest with you, I'm reading Ford's 1972 financial report." And he said, 1972, why are you reading that? He said, well, because finances don't have, he said, because success doesn't have a date on it. You can be successful from the past and doing it in the present. And that's when Warren Buffett recently bought Coca-Cola, and he didn't change the slogan. He didn't change anything. He bought Coca-Cola and raised the price 1 penny. And it was because Coca-Cola sold what I think he said 1.7 1.7 million 8-ounce bottles of Coke every single day. He said, and I didn't have to do anything to it. All I had to do was read and find it out. So he didn't want to reinvent the wheel, and he raised it a penny, and now he's making hundreds of millions every single day just from buying Coke. So I get ideas from listening to stories like that, listening to motivational speakers, listening to other podcasts, listening to people who are doing the things that I would like to do, and then reading their story. I'm in love with these success stories. Reading Kevin Hart's book, oh my goodness, I have so many ideas that I just have to put them in place now.
Wow, I love that. And I love that because, again, you are just going right into the questions that I have for you. And one of the questions are for you, like, you actually do a lot of activities to keep you at the top of your game, to keep you generating new ideas, sticking to, like, beating the curve on trends, like being there before it actually hits you. So, what are some key activities would you recommend to entrepreneurs to invest in, their time in, so they could get better at their crafts, or, greater in the way of success that they want for themselves?
So one thing that I would definitely say an entrepreneur should get into to increase their awareness of what it is that they're doing is find at least 5 other people who are doing it at the level you wish to be doing it at, and then follow their trend, or go backtrack on the things that they have done. Go look at their first video, their second video, their first month video. You know what I mean? Go back and look at how their story got to where it is, and then follow that path, but follow it at an accelerated rate. That's one of the things that you can do. You don't have, if you have all of the tools, you don't have to slow read or slow walk into your success. You can actually sprint into your success. So that's number one. I would definitely say go back and look at other at least 5 entrepreneurs who are doing something. The thing is read, just because, and it doesn't have to be something specifically catered towards what it is that you're doing for you to be successful at it. It can be something completely different, but it gives you an idea related to what it is that you would like to do. So, you know, you can learn about training through basketball, through football, through boxing. You can learn how to train or how to be what mental toughness it takes in order to be successful through playing tennis, you know, through wrestling. You know what I mean? The types of things that you have to put your body through. You can learn that from anywhere, not just from your particular sport. So definitely venture out. So definitely read, and then find at least 5 other people who have done what you're trying to do, or who are doing what it is that you're trying to do, and then just, you know, walk their story at an accelerated rate.
Absolutely. And I love that. I do the same thing. Like, I watch people who have already achieved the level of success that I'm seeking to have. Not because I want to do it and have that same type of level of success, but I want to learn how to get there, you know? So I want to, you know, they're leaving a footprint. They left a map for me to follow. And just like you said, Warren Buffett didn't have to reinvent the wheel for Coke. He did a penny more. He didn't change it. Like, the map was already laid out for him. And I think that when you speak about like having the map in your book bag, you know, whether you're saying it in a comedic way or just saying it in an educational way, regardless of what it is, the takeaway on that, if you were joining Chats for Chantla, Jeff has spoken about so many things, but one of the huge takeaways that I feel that you should definitely be taking away from this conversation is that there is a map that's been laid out for you on any type of level of business and entrepreneurship. Somebody has already done it. And he just said, you don't have to get it from someone who is in the exact industry. When you were talking about athletes know how to practice. They know about commitment. They know about consistency. And the biggest thing I think about when I think about athletes is discipline. Like how much discipline it takes to be able to do what they do every single day. So, you know, condition your mind to do the same play 100 times until you get it right, you know. And that's not an easy task, especially if you're a star athlete and you have someone who's not maybe as good as you are. I think about, you know, I'm just going to throw it out. I think about LeBron James. Like, God made him differently. You know, he knows so much about basketball and how he's mastered it, you know, and there are times where he plays basketball with some people on his team that may not be as good as him, but he has to keep doing that. And he has to still be consistent. And he has to be disciplined, not only physically, but mentally, to be able to persevere through all of that, because it's a team effort. But when you're speaking, I'm just thinking of all the great things that you're speaking about. But the one thing I want the viewers of Chats for Chantla, thank you so much for joining. This is episode 25. But Jeff Young has so much he's speaking about. He is a spoken word artist and a motivational speaker, but you got to have a map. You have to map it out. You have to, I mean, he spoke about Dora the Explorer earlier, and I forgot all about the map and why Swiper was always coming for her, but now I will never forget that and why it's important to have a map. And the other thing I think about, Jeff, when you think about a map is without direction, you get lost.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know? There's no GPS. There's only hard directions in this, and you have to have the map. There's no GPS for success. There's a map, and there's treacherous. I mean, it's treacherous. You know, you go through terrain and all types of storms and stuff like that, and you have to learn how to weather the storm. And you know, it really is it's a scary path, but it's something that I wouldn't change for nothing. I would do it all over again.
I know you would. And there are so many people that are watching that want to connect to you, want to know how they can support you, how they can find you on social media platforms. So just shout out your social media handles so that we know them. And then I'll later, make sure they're in the comments for everyone who's watching so they can connect with you as an entrepreneur and support you.
Absolutely. So everything is Backpack Jeff. Backpackjeff.com, Backpack Jeff on, you can look at the Facebook page is Backpack Jeff. The Instagram page is Backpack Jeff. I made it really, really easy. There was the Young Lungs motivation part, but since I had my publicist, we've had an opportunity to kind of rebrand myself. And we thought that Backpack Jeff would be much simpler. And then it also helps with branding, and then it also helps with sponsors as well. So like we're working on backpack sponsors, we're working on sponsors for beard oils, we're working on fitness sponsors. So all of these different things, if you just build yourself a following, they will come, they will ask you, they'll support you if you're good at what you do. And everything is Backpack Jeff, though.
All right. So we're definitely going to be making sure that we follow you at Backpack Jeff. But Jeff, I wanted to give you an opportunity with this final question is to just, share some final thoughts for the viewers that are watching that may be wanting to do what you already are doing, or just some motivating words that I know that you have for them that you can share.
Yeah. So how about I do this? How about I share a poem with you guys that will that I wrote, and it's a poem. It's called Inspiring Woman, and I'll share this with you all. I guess I should thank Wale for this inspiration. Ambitious girl, I'm so inspired by your dedication. The way you make being a full-time student, single mom, and holding down a job look easy. No appreciation from the critics, but you never needed validation. Just some time away from the kids and maybe a vacation. And I like how you don't let society tell you that time away from the kids isn't necessary, and how self-care for you is customary. People see you and ask how you remember to get your nails done today, but you didn't eat. And you tell them that you eat, and that's how you can afford to get your nails done and your feet, ambitious girl. Or maybe I should call you Wonder Woman, because you've been making the whole world wonder how you made it when your vehicle and road to success has always been visible, so you paved it. Made a way out of no way, as you typically do. Ambitious girl, I'm so in love with you. And I like how date nights have turned into study groups, because you're busy studying for your tests. And I'm here to quiz you to make sure that you do your best. See, these relationship goals. See, I'll meet you at graduation with a ring so we can make this relationship whole. Ambitious girl. She outgrew kind words with no actions. She done trying to fit him in her life when she custom made. Now he got to go to the tailor just to fit in her life. That means he got to do better. She dumbed down herself too many times. If he can't afford to meet her on the level she's going to, he don't deserve to be on her line. Ambitious girl. She got me ready to better myself. And I love how she encourages me to love myself. She see that I work hard, but she tell me that self-care is an important part of what I should do. She let me know that the attainment of wealth is important, but my mental health is too. Ambitious girl. Now inspiring woman. Nowadays, we do so much dreaming that this don't even feel real. Y'all, sometimes we pretend sit in the back of the car and just do work so we can know what having a driver feels like. Make an absurd request to our personal assistant and nanny, practicing for our future life. Asking the babysitter to watch the kids this weekend because we had a rough week. And it may seem silly to other people, but we see the future in this mystique inspiring woman. I see your network. You got around other inspiring women to increase your net worth. They say behind every successful woman is a tribe of other successful women who have her back to help her in business and to tell her when her outfit is whack. And not because they hating, but because they always want to see her at her best, inspiring woman, not just the Disney princess. Sometimes she Layla Ali. She don't just float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. She cocooned the butterfly and she queen bee. That means she can help you grow wings and provide at the same time. Inspiring woman did it all on her own dime. Raised the kids and provided the house. Turned Simba into Mufasa before she was ever considered a spouse. Inspiring woman. I see you working. even though your feet hurting. She wake up in the morning, one high heel and a combat boot because she about to go to war, but she want to look good doing it. The whole world told her to stop chasing her dreams, but she's still pursuing it. Inspiring woman. I just want to take off your cape when you come home, but not strip you of your superpowers. Show you that you don't have to fly alone. I can meet you in the sky. Inspiring woman. I'm your biggest fan. Signed, the inspiring man. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yo, I'm like, listen, I'm trying to be professional here. You know, anybody who's watching, you really did it, Jeff, like for real. I mean, people in the comments are just like, they're loving it. It's fire. Like, the thing about it is, I know what you're capable of doing. I've seen it. I love it. I'm so thankful to be a part of it. You know, shout out to my sister Caprice for joining in the episode. He just was like, yo, that is so fire. You know, Martell, Tanya, Brandy. Miss Carol said you owe her a pair of crazy socks. But let me just get back to that ambitious girl. Jeff, you are so gifted, so talented. And if you like what you just heard on Chats with Chantla with this phenomenal entrepreneur, Jeff Young, follow him at Backpack Jeff. Support him. I hope you have some virtual platforms that you're going to be doing, Jeff, so that we can definitely support you. You got to follow him to know what's coming up next. This is a man who has poured so much into so many other people. And tonight I'm asking us to do the same in return. Jeff, what you just gave to us in that gift of ambitious girl, ambitious woman, how you just described every woman who is doing so much, and we need a partner to make sure in business and life. I felt like that is what you described. Yes, Danita, he did that, and he is always and will continue to be amazing. Jeff, I just think that tonight, sharing this platform with you, what did I tell you? I told you it was going to be epic. And speak those things, and it manifested not just through your actions, but through your words. And I could not have a better way to conclude this episode of Chats with Chantla. Jeff, it has been amazing. It has been a privilege. It has been an honor. It has been so many things. And I thank you for just saying yes to this collaboration, making tonight a night that many people will not forget, not just for hearing your story, but of entrepreneurship, but just what you just poured into them. You're amazing. I mean, I don't know what else to say except that you're amazing. And thank you so much for this beautiful collaboration.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you and everything that you have done, and this platform that you are giving so many amazing people. And it's no surprise that someone like you would be doing something that is as special as this. So we thank you for this. We are just happy that we are able to witness your growth and to witness you do the things that you said. I mean, I don't think I talked to anyone more than I talked to you when I was starting this journey of moving back home. And, you know, you and I, we were like right there at the same path, and then we both, you know, parted our ways, but we never lost contact. So thank you for being a friend. Thank you for being a mentor. Thank you for everything that you do. And I'm super happy that I get to witness you grow. And I know for sure that we're going to do so many other amazing things down the line together. And we're going to change so many lives. It's going to be ridiculous.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I just also want to share that tonight we are actually, let me get it. I did it wrong. You know, I can't even do this right. But tonight's episode, we have a giveaway, Jeff, and it's sponsored by Team Humanity. Again, the giveaway that we're going to be doing, you have to do 3 things. And those 3 things are to comment on tonight's episode, like it, and also share. Those 3 things are the necessary actions to be, you know, pulled to be entered in tonight's giveaway, sponsored by Team Humanity. He is another phenomenal man that's doing some great impact. But Jeff, it has been such a pleasure. Again, tonight was epic, and I thank you so much for saying yes to the collaboration. And I'd like to thank everyone who tuned in for another episode of Chats with Chantla. It's been a pleasure. We'll see you again next Monday with another amazing entrepreneur. Have a great night, everyone.
Bye.